then you'll find your way. And so he builds within the plan of God for your life. He builds within his purpose. He builds within the book that he wrote of you some provisional places where you're going to encounter some trials. You're going to encounter some tests. And right now, we're sitting in the middle of a test of your true belief system, a test of your true motivation, a test of whether you really do love and you cling to God, or that you just get saved so you can escape hell. And that's okay if you just got saved to escape hell, but I'm going to tell you something, that thing ain't going to keep you if you don't get something else to hold you. And so provisionally in your journey, there's things like the day that we live in right now, the crisis and the considerations that we have to have right now. But we have to consider how our family is going to make it. And we have to consider how things are going forward. And it's tiring. It's tiring. And there are tests. I mean, every email, we're getting emails and text messages about things that are hurting or that are causing us to be confused or at least bringing us to a place of saying, Lord, how long? Somebody said, Lord, how long? How long must I go through this? But that's built into it. So let me slow and make sure you understand that God never lost control, and that some situations are built into your plan. Okay, it took me a second to get finished with that intro right there. It might have been good, but that's not the crust of where I'm going. The crust of where I'm going is to help you understand that when Paul begins to speak to them, he says, look to your left and look to your right. Look at the house next door. Look at the people next door. There are no tests that they are exempt from. You're not the only one going through. You're not the only one with issues. You're not the only one with a struggle. You're not the only one that seems like they can't seem to make it. There's no temptation. There's no test that is not common. They are all available to all of us. You must understand that you are going to encounter some tough moments. And if you think it's different, you're going to continue to fail because you're going to think that God has failed you. He has not failed you. And it does not mean that he is not with you. It does not mean that you have lost the faith. It means that you are encountering the test that he said. But then Paul goes on to say, but God is faithful. Now let me wipe my sweat while I talk about the faithful God. He said, God is faithful. Now he is real clear to say, but God is faithful. Now, God is faithful. You know, the omnipotent, almighty, ancient of days, the all-wise one, the everlasting God, the wonderful counselor, the one who came together to design who you are. He says he's faithful. Now, here's where I want to really kind of buckle down just a little bit, and I hope you're ready. I said, God is faithful, but God was faithful, and God will be faithful, for he's the same today, yesterday, and forever. Now, when Paul begins to talk about God being faithful, he first tries to send you the implication that the only real faithful one now is God. The only one real that is full of faith, that is the author and the finisher of faith, is God. He says God is faithful. He is infallible. He is immutable. He is unshakable. He is the one who will not leave you. He is the one who will not forsake you. He is the one who can stand up to you. He is the one who can hold you up. He is the one who supports you. He is the one who provides for you. He is the one who gives you peace. He is the only one who is absolute enough to hold all of us up at one time. I know I might have people commenting on Facebook right now, and there may be a lot of people who are watching. Well, whoever you are, God is holding you up. But what makes him so phenomenal to me is he's not just holding you up. He's holding this big boy up too. And he's holding those people up too, all at the same time. We are all still leaning and depending, or hoping to lean and depend on him. That's why his faithfulness means you can trust him. You can rely on him. You can lean on him, that he will never forsake you, and he'll never be too weak to hold you up. I'm grateful that he's never too weak to hold you up. See, I'm a little healthier than other people. I'm a little heavier than other people. And there were situations and times in my life where people can't hold me up, but God forever lets me stand. God is ever there for me to lean on, ever there for me. But I'm not special like you are. I'm not special, and you're not special like I am. In other words, he is faithful to hold you up. to hold you up in the middle of this crisis, to hold you up in the middle of your issue, to hold you up in the middle of your question mark as to God, can I make it? Because it looks like things are going the other way. It looks like I'm declining. It looks like my money might not hold up. It looks like my faith might not hold up. It looks like my health may not hold up. But I came to tell you that a faithful God is strong enough to hold you up, makes enough money to pay your bills, has enough healing and blood to heal you totally, to be there when you don't know anything else, because God is faithful. When your wife walks out on you, God is faithful. When your daddy walks out on you, God is faithful. When your friends walk out on you, God is faithful. And the times that you walk out on him, he is yet still faithful. Oh, you tripping now. You ain't never walked out on him. You've never taken a date that didn't include God. You've never made a phone call that didn't include God. You've never walked down the street and did something that didn't include. Oh, you walked out on him. But while you were walking out on him, he stood still and was there, still there with you. He said, I am faithful even unto death. I said, God is faithful. I'm glad he's faithful for those sheroes and heroes who are on the front line, who are working throughout this virus and throughout this situation, that are endangering their lives on a daily basis, that he is faithful enough to keep them healthy and keep them protected and keep them covered. God is faithful in the midst of drama. God is faithful in the midst of dirt. God is faithful when it looks like all hell is broken loose. God is faithful. Now watch this. Let me take you to one more level of faithfulness, and I'm going to get out of here. But it's a faithful that I never want you to forget, that he was faithful. Give me just a little bit more volume. He was faithful before you knew he was faithful. He was faithful when he built you. He built you. He was faithful. He says, now when I sit down to design him, and that's who he is. He's an architect. He's an architect, and he designs us. He designs us, and he recognizes what is going to be necessary throughout the days and the weeks of our lives and the years of our lives. What is going to be necessary to hold up the weight. Oh, Lord, have mercy. To hold up the weight. He said, early, like when my little girl was a baby, I just could hold her in one hand. And I could hold her and pamper her in one hand, and it was absolutely no issue. There was no problems, and I felt, and I was so in love with her. But as she has grown and as she has gotten older, that weight has become a mite more. So my one hand couldn't hold her anymore. Now it takes more than one hand to keep her, because what God said is, I'm gonna build you, but I'm not gonna build you like you're an infant. I'm not gonna build you like you're gonna always be in that one place. I'm not gonna build you like you're always gonna be on that one stage. I'm not going to build you like it's always going to be going perfect. I'm not going to build you like everything will always be going your way. I'm going to build you not just for the sunlight, but I'm going to build you for the rain, and I'm going to build you for the storm, and I'm going to build you like an architect. I know how high you're going to go, and I know how low you're going to go, and so I have to include the proper materials to build you just right, so that you can withstand under any circumstance, under any situation. You can hold up. And so I'm not just going to choose any kind of stuff. You know how we are. We're the shade tree kind of people. We're the cheap kind of people. We're the kind of people that when we want to get something and reconstruct something, we want to use some of the old wood, and we want to use some of the old stuff, because we want to be kind of sort of cheap about what we do. It's still okay. It's still all right. It'll still make it a little while longer. Well, I'm glad that God didn't build me shade tree. Yeah, tell somebody, I'm glad he didn't build me like a shade tree, telling me that you'll last a little while longer on this. So I'm going to use some of that old stuff that she left, and I'm going to use some of that old stuff that they left, because it'll still look good. He said, no, I'm going to design you to my specifications. He says, and I'm going to get original, unique stuff. Nobody's going to be built with what you're built with. It will be the absolute top of the line. The enemy seeks to put his hands on what I'm going to build you up. I'm going to build you meticulously. I'm going to build you with my mind. I'm going to make make sure that the finest grade of materials are built with you, because I know that tornadoes and hurricanes and earthquakes and tremors are going to come into your life. I know the situations are going to occur that feel like quicksand, and I got to make sure that no matter how heavy it becomes, no matter how much weight you have to go through, no matter how hard it gets, you're going to still be able to stand. I got to make sure you understand that your stuff and your tests and your trials are custom made. Somebody say, I'm custom made. And my tests are custom made too. That's a big deal right there. I'm custom made. I'm uniquely designed. I'm the kind of brother who's gone through a lot of things in his life. And so my clothes, for the most part, have to be custom made. I had a conversation with my tailor not too long ago, and I said, I'm losing some weight here. And I said, I want to trim some areas right here, and I want to trim some things off right there, and I want to make this and that smaller. But in this area, I want it to stay like it is, because I like the room that I have in that place. In this area, it may look like I'm a little bit bigger than I was, but I'm not. But I want to make sure it's a room. And so in those places, he left everything like it was. But in other places, he began to trim it so it would be custom designed to me. Now, if you put my clothes on, they might fall all over you. If you put my clothes on, they may not fit you in the right place, but they are not custom made. They're not designed for you. And that's what God has done. He put you in a world and set you in a situation, even right now with your children, even right now with your husband, even right now with your wife, even right now with your problems, even right now with your issues. They have been custom designed for you. They have been set in place so that you can handle it and that you can uphold it. It might get heavy, but it won't knock you down. Say it might get heavy, but it won't knock you down. And if it knocks you down, it won't kill you, because God will prop you back up. There are times in life where you get knocked down and the load seems more heavy than you understand. And you ask God, when you going to move this? When you going to take some of this off? He said, I'm down on my face, Lord. I have fallen to the ground. And he said, that's where I want you at this moment. I built you for this particular moment. I want you to isolate it right now, because this progress won't come with a whole lot of people. This progress will come through separation. Sometimes God has to separate you to progress you. He has to separate you from the familiar. He has to separate you from the people who have your phone number. He has to separate you from the people that you go out and eat with. He has to separate and make sure that you can't hear none of the noise, and that you have to stay home in an isolated place. He says, I separated you to progress you, because you were going the wrong way. And where I'm taking you, the door ain't real wide. Where I'm taking you, there's just a little slither of a room to go through. And those other people, if I allow them to stay with you, your goodness and your kindness is going to tell you to step out of the way and let them go first. He said, but they wasn't built for it. If they go through it, they going to die. If they go through it, it's going to kill them. But I built this place for you, and it's tight, and I'm not going to let you go in there with excess. So you're going to have to be cut just like I cut you, because I built you. I built you with that hair. I built you with that mind. I built you with those nerve endings. I customly designed you. No, I was not the physicality of it, but I architecturally designed it. In other words, I built you so that you could be not just a light, but a light that sits on a hill. I built you not just a father, that you could be a father that builds. I built you not just a mother who can go through hell, a mother who can go through perversion, a mother who can go through being abused, a mother who can go through broken marriages and broken families, and yet come out and tell her daughter, you can learn how to love, and you can be stronger, and you can be bigger. I built you to go through the drama so that you can teach somebody how to go through the good times in life. I built you to fail and fall in areas that you don't even want to talk about, that crucify your mind, that won't even let you sleep. You don't want anybody to ever know, but I built you with that so that I could put the wisdom and knowledge necessary to raise the next generation. I designed you for the drama. So we stand in this moment right now to help us understand that there are moments in our lives. Yes, I'm feeling good because I know that God gave me this word for you. And he told me, he said, and the stagnant, he said, talk about, this is the words he gave me, the stagnation that accompanies comfort. I said, the stagnation that accompanies comfort. He said, because here's what happens, right? He said, people get comfortable. And when they get comfortable, they get stagnant. They tend to want to sit in that lazy boy. They tend to want to sit in that one place. They are content to just sit down in church and get fat. They are content to just hear the word and let everybody else do the work. They are content to be satisfied and just say, ooh, I feel good. Ooh, I believe God is doing something. Ooh, my bank account is growing. Ooh, this is happening and that's happening. He said, but there's a comfort level that comes with there's a stagnation that comes with that comfort. That means they're no longer growing. They're no longer fluid. They're no longer active. He said, so I designed. He said, just like I designed you and I architected you to put it all together so that you could handle it, I also architecturally put it all together. So I designed your test. Somebody say, he designed my test. Yeah, he custom built that thing. And I have Bible to support it because the Bible says that he told Jonah, he said, I have prepared, in the book of Jonah, he said, I have prepared. Now, I wasn't doing it while he was doing it. I prepared a way. You know, there is no test taking you but such as is common to man, but God is faithful that he will allow it. He will suffer it. He said, I custom made it. I built it. He said, I didn't just do this. And this is the one I like the most. He said, I built it so that you can withstand what they thought you couldn't withstand. I built it because people will underestimate you. They will underestimate how strong you really are because they'll base it on your demeanor and they'll base it on your submissiveness and they'll base it on the situation. They say they too weak and they can't handle it. And even you'll tell yourself, I'm not sure if I can handle this. You'll tell yourself that the odds are stacked against me. You'll start to degrade and devalue yourself that I don't know if I can do this. This is hard. How would God put this on me? He said, I did it. I designed the mentality that you would believe that so that you would lean on me. But this is the portion that I like. And you know this scripture. I mean, you know this text, so I'm not going to go into it. I just want to grab what I want to get out of it. Right here, I can see those Hebrew boys getting ready to make their way through their life and becoming believers and saying that they will not bow. And I can see those Hebrew boys who have come through captivity and come through bondage, who have worked hard and beat themselves down and was laboring for somebody else's labor. I can see that happening, and I can see them now being converted from the world and coming into God. And I can see them in a position where they're standing now and they've become lights of the world, and the enemy now is trying to take them out, and the enemy now is trying to darken their light, and the enemy around now is trying to kill me. I can see it with my visual eyes, and I completely understand it. But the next thing I understand is I see where God converts them, and they come into a situation where it's a life or death matter. I came to tell you that God will design life or death matters to you. Oh Lord, help me do this right. That you'll sit in a situation where you're wondering if you're going to live, and he'll question you and say, are you here for me or are you here for them? And he brings you to that place now where the test in front of you is big and it's bad, but you know that you're able. You get to the place where you used to say, God, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if you can take in this. I'm not sure if God knows what's going on. He must have sat down and took a nap while this text message came. He must have took a nap when that phone call came. He must didn't see this email that came that troubled my whole spirit and troubled my whole life. There's no way God would allow this to happen to me. Why in the world would he allow me to lose my job right now? Why in the world would he allow me to sit in this situation and feel infected? Why in the world would he put me in a place where I can't help anybody and can't go anywhere? Why would I feel crippled to the place, but it looks like my money is drying up, like Elijah the river dried up? It looks like everything is going. Why would God? There's no way that God is aware of what's going on. Well, I came to send another text message. I'm sending another email. I'm coming in at the bottom of another post that you have. God was well aware, and he is well aware. And so he wants to know, are you aware of how good he is? Are you aware of what he's done? And I heard the Hebrew boys say, well, I know Nebuchadnezzar, but here's the deal, oh king, but let me tell you this right here. I'm not going to bow. I'm not going to down. He said, and they said, and you might want to turn it up and you might want to kill us in the whole nine. He said, but this is the one thing that I know, that my God is well able. My God is able to supply. And in the midst of that, things didn't get better. Have you ever been in a situation where you have given praise and given glory and told God how great he was, and the situation still didn't change, and it was still in front of you, and you started to say, ooh, my praise was good, but God, I thought you was going to move when I praise, because they say when the praises come up, the blessings come down. I thought you was going to praise. So they say you inhabit the praises of your people. God, you said you'd be with me always, and I was praising you and giving you, hallelujah, the highest praise, and I still ain't seeing you move because nothing is happening in my behalf. And God, here's what they told me, that I'm going to be evicted in just a few days. Here's what they told me, that I only have 2 or 3 more weeks to live. Here's what they told me, that your son ain't going to ever get out of prison. Here's what they told me, that my kids will never be saved. Here's what they told me, that my child has mental condition and they'll always be a vegetable. Here's what they're telling me. Here's what my blood pressure tells me. Here's what my diabetes tells me. Here's what all this stuff is telling me. And Lord, it doesn't seem to be changing. No matter how hard I pray, no matter how much I give in, God, why is it not changing? And I can see them walking toward that old fiery furnace. You know, I ain't going to preach it like anybody else. I preach it like the movie. I can see them walking toward the fiery furnace, and I can hear them hearing an echo in the atmosphere. And this echo ain't God. This ain't him saying, oh, I got you. This ain't him saying, oh, I'm going to deliver you. This ain't him saying, oh, you good. No, that's not the echo they hear. They hear an echo that says, you turn that fire up 7 times hotter than it's supposed to be. You make it even hotter than it was. You create a challenge that is so overwhelming that it makes them feel like it is impossible to believe God. It is impossible to make sure this is hotter than the hottest that you know. He said, I want to make sure but I came to tell you, it was not the king who ordered the 7 times higher. I came to tell you, it was not the king who ordered it higher. It was God who ordered it higher. It was God who said, turn it up, because I know the materials I built them with. I know how I designed them. I know how I put them together. They don't even know. Sometimes they doubt themselves, and I want them to doubt themselves, but I don't want them to doubt me and them. They don't even know the materials I use. Why? Because I did it before the foundation of the world. Why? Because it is beyond their understanding. It is beyond their understanding as to the fortitude and what they have. So turn it up. Turn it up, devil. You can try Job. Turn it up, devil. He has a buffet, a messenger from Satan in his wing. But turn it up. You don't want to know why? You can turn it up because my grace is sufficient. My grace is enough. My divine enablement is beyond your understanding. Anything that you do, enemy, is something that I allow, not something you take the liberty to do, because I permitted you to test Job, and I'm going to permit you to put them in the fire. But what you don't understand is when I was building them, unlike your soldiers who going to die when they get close to it, unlike the people who have guarded them who going to die when they get close to this fire, but I built them to handle stuff that's bigger than regular life. I built them to handle stuff that ain't normal, that ain't created. I built them to handle stuff that is beyond your imagination. It is hotter than you've ever done it before, but I built them to handle stuff that is above and not beneath, that is exceeding abundantly above all that they could ask or think. I built them with enough good material that when the fire is turned up, it only makes them better. How then does it make them better? I'm getting ready to get out of here. How then does it make them better? Because the higher you turn that thing up, the closer they get to me. Because I birthed them. I brought them through the fire of affliction. They were born in the fire of affliction. They were born in captivity. Excuse me. They were living in captivity. They were living as slaves. They were living beneath their privileges. I brought them up in the ghetto. I brought them up in the survivals of life. I brought them up in the vicissitudes of anger and violence. They know what it's like to have to work hard, to do it harder than anybody else, and be stronger than anybody else. I brought them up like that. I was building their muscles. I was custom making them, because I brought them to this stage so that when they get in the fire, I came to prophesy to Family Worship Center. I came to prophesy to the world. And you call it a prophet, and I'm not going to speak in tongues. He said, I built you to be able to handle this virus. I built you to be able to stay home. I built you to be able to go through the topsy-turvy of this economy. You were literally in my mind when I put together the wars and the earthquakes and the viruses and the pandemics that are going on in this world. I built you with that in mind, knowing that you would have days when you get weary, knowing that you would have days when you get tired, knowing that you would have days when you wanted to give up, knowing that you would have days when you would question who I am, but yet you keep coming and yet you keep walking. So I want to commend you, church. I want to commend you, people who keep falling forward, who not just fall down, but I keep falling forward. I keep leaning and depending on him. Oh, I'm going too fast, but I got to do this. I keep leaning and depending on him. I keep trusting him. When I fall, I'm falling and saying, Lord, help me. Nothing you can do better than say, Lord, help me. And so here's these Hebrew boys that when it gets as hot as it possibly can be, I will with the temptation. I will alongside of the temptation provide a way of escape. I will show you the way out. It may not be when you want it because you wanted to get out before you got in, but I'm not going to let you get out before you got in because there's some lessons that must be learned. Premature exit is a formula for failure. I said premature exit is a formula for failure. When you get out too early, you don't have the information to keep you from going back in. You don't have the wisdom to keep you from going back in. He said, so I'm going to provide a way of escape, but if you take it, then you're going to miss what I had in mind. You're going to miss the prosperity that's going to come with the problem. You're going to miss the elevation that's going to come with the isolation. You're going to miss the progress that's going to come with the pain. So I got to get you to go through this, mama. You got to sit here with your legs in the stirrup, and you got to feel these contractions, and you got to know that something is being born out of you, but you got to know it ain't going to come out easy. You got to know that you're going to have to push. You got to know that you're going to have to press to get this out. But if you push and press, I've given you enough strength to push this thing out. I've given you enough strength to bring it out. It might be painful. You might have to be cut. You might lose some blood, but I tell you, you can birth this thing. Somebody said, slow down, Pastor Rod. I can't because it's on the inside of me. I'm trying to put this thing out in such a way. I'm done. I'm basically all but done. But I said to you, with the test, he has given you the opportunity to triumph. He said he will provide a way of escape that you may be able to endure it. He says, I'm going to show you I could get you out to give you the confidence that you can stay in. I'm going to have to stop right there and let somebody marinate. He says, I'm going to show you how I'm going to show you that there's a cheap way out to give you the confidence that you can pay for the expensive thing that'll last a lifetime. That you can bear it. What is he telling us? He says, I didn't put you in anything that you ain't got the power to come out of. But some things I placed you in so that you can prosper with the light on you. Whew. That's good. I said you can prosper with the light on. In other words, the light is bright right now because people think you're going to fail. Some people have counted you out. Some people said you're going to die, that you wouldn't make it here. But now everybody's watching. You Hebrew boys. Everybody's watching. I want them to see me when they see you. That's the challenge that we've been working toward. I want them to see you when they see me when they see you. The Bible says that the king looked in and said, oh, wait. There's a transfiguration going on. There's a transformation going on. There is a division that is bringing unity. I put 3 in, but I see 4. And the last one looks big and strong, and mighty. And here we sit. For the book of Philippians, Paul says, here's what I'm convinced of. I've been talking about Corinthians. I know what I'm talking about when I says Philippians 1 and 6. He, God, who began the work, who began and put you together, who began and built you, who began and started you on your way. He is faithful to perform the work called you. Whew. And I am certain that God, bring it back up. I am certain that God, and I'm going to need you to cut next time, that God who began the good work within you. Somebody say it is, don't take it off. It is within me that he's working. They don't see it on the outside, but he's changing my insides to polish my outsides. He's changing what's on the inside of me to give me luster and glisten on the outside. People won't understand it. He will continue his work. Somebody say, I ain't finished. He will continue his work. That God is constantly back. God is constantly working and fulfilling the promise. Bring it back up. Until it is finally finished on the day when Christ returns. I told you when we started this, I'm good. You were built to finish. Not built to start. Not built to go in. You were built to finish. You are not an incomplete. You are not a quitter. You are not a stopper. You've been built to finish. Your equipment, your materials that you have been built with can withstand the heat that you are currently under. Don't you give up. Just because you are facing opposition, don't you give up. Did you hear what I said? I said, just because you are facing opposition, don't give up. With that voice and tone inflection, I mean it. Because you are facing opposition, don't give up. Because opposition is the indicator of progress. Opposition is the indicator of value. Opposition is the indicator that somebody wants what you have. You can surrender in your flesh and say, I'm tired, I'm fatigued, I'm going to just let them have it. And God will allow you to do so. But you will come up shorter than what you were supposed to because you took away that seemed right, but it was not his will for you. He says, I have a ram in the bush. He says, there is something on the other side of this mountain. If you turn and go back, you won't ever see it. But if you realize you are built, constructed, and put together to go through this, there's a great reward on the other side. Don't you dare give up. Don't you dare stop. Don't you dare forget how much hell you've been through. Don't you dare forget the agony that you came through to get to this point. Don't you dare forget how many times you got up off your face and started again. Don't you dare forget what it felt like to fail. Don't you dare forget to see the victory after failure. Don't you dare forget how much I have done and how many things you've overcome that you never thought you could. And this uncircumcised Philistine is yours too. You are built to finish. Take your sword in your hand and you cut this giant's head off. I'm going to get better while I'm at this house. I'm going to get better through this tragedy. I'm going to get better through this problem. And I'm going to come out and I'm going to hold the head of the giant. And see, I got the head of it. I'm yet ready for the next thing. You are built to finish. Father, we are grateful that you have delivered to us a word of encouragement, a word of empowerment, a word that is to satisfy the hunger of an answer I need from God. I built you to finish this. That's what you tell us. I built you to handle this. Now, God, let the word pierce. Let it edify. Let it magnify. Let it ignite that fan the flame of fire of the embers that have tried to go out. It says, man, we ain't too long. It's just so much. It's too many things going on. Fan the flame. And let us burn on the inside as we come through this stronger. Touch every unbeliever. Bring salvation. Touch every believer. Give them a push of hope that they understand you are yet still on our side and you are in total control and you build us to finish it. For that we give you the glory. For that we give you the honor. For that we give you praise. In your mighty name. Amen. Amen.